All right. So, this is my Stars on Mars episode 6 review. So, um let's see. So we basically pick up where we left off. Everybody's partying because we have food, and apparently they brought foods, which I honestly was not expecting because um why? I mean, I guess if you're dealing with colonists on Mars, you don't want to make them never drink alcohol, but I don't know, it just seemed weird. But anyway, so everyone's having a good time, and then emergency, which, I don't know, Adam's still base commander at this point, technically, right? So then it's time to pick a new. I think I heard Adam's voice. His voice isn't very strong for this, but I love him anyway. So, they the new people are like, what the hell is going on? And um and those who've been there before are just like doop dee doop dee doo. I'm like, dude, this is supposed to be an emergency, right? So why are we like not panicking? I mean, I realize they know what it is. It's going to be just a new base commander. But in the off chance it isn't, maybe don't be so nonchalant. But anyway, so it is pick a new base commander. And Lance wants to be base commander. And so does Ariel. And there's back and forth about why either one should be base commander. And so then there's a paper vote, and Ariel gets it. And Marchand is a little unhappy because he feels like because of the feud between the two of them, that neither one of them should be base commander, because this way you don't have to worry about, the other one doesn't have to worry about getting the heave ho for personal reasons. Now, first off, Lance all of a sudden brings up, I don't want to live in a house with Ariel. Now, granted, I did mention last episode that she did confront him with court documents from his doping scandal. But at the same time, it seemed like out of left field. You know, there were people who were campaigning for Lance, there were people who were campaigning for Ariel, and Ariel got it. Marchand, now granted, he does have a point that this way there's no doubt as to whether, they're going to be childish. But Ariel already proved that she isn't childish about this, because she even patted herself on the back to us, saying how, see, I don't like Lance, and I was vocal about saving him because he's mission critical. So on the one hand, her her doing that was kind of undermined by her, see the good thing I did, I'm not a bad person. But at the same time, that should have shown Marchand that, okay, they have differing opinions on a social issue. That's I can separate the two. So I can see how Ariel was upset that Marchand would even question that. And now, so she ended up crying. Now, it could be possible that she was that upset. But the fact that, she closed the curtain and all you could hear um was noises of crying, the feet were not moving. I don't know. Was she really crying? I mean, I certainly understand why she would be upset, because what the hell, Marshawn? I mean, granted, she did initially try to boot him because he only has been physical, as if that's a bad thing. So, they obviously have issues, but so Lance has decided that he wants to leave, that he'll just quit. Portia tries to convince him not to, because just because they have 4 new people, so what? And Portia even said, all these people quitting are making this not fun. And now the difference, of course, being they quit, Richard and Natasha, they quit on the spot. They were already in the bottom 3. Lance has not been within sniffing distance of the bottom 3. So Portia convinces him to sleep on it. And so the next day, even Andy, he was like, what's going on? What's with this drama? And Lance, out and out told him. And you could see the wheels spinning in Andy's head, trying to figure out how to either make this funny or just to extract himself from this very uncomfortable situation. But, so I guess at this point, everybody knows what the drama is. It's, no longer Lance pinning it all on Ariel because, well, like Ariel pointed out, nobody defended Lance. Everybody was against Lance. It's not just Ariel. So why is she being singled out? And so the next day, Ariel decides to have a announcement. So she asks the AI to bring everybody. And the AI uses that same alert system because, that's not ominous or anything. But anyway, so she makes the announcement, and I thought that she handled it really well. She answered the questions. That was the elephant in the room, is can she be impartial? And she's like, look, there are people there are certain people I do not like, but that is not going to affect whether I think they're mission critical, because it's about the mission. It's not about my personal feelings. And Paul somehow found a way to not like what she said. I know Paul is all about, let's get together as a team and talk it out. And he probably wanted, her and Lance to personally, hash out their issues. But it's a fundamental difference. He thinks trans athletes should have their own category, which I don't think there's enough trans athletes to have that even happen. And Ariel thinks that they should be treated like human beings, not like freaks. So that's a fundamental difference, and neither one is going to budge on that. No amount of talking it out is going to convince either one to change their stance. So I get what Paul's saying, but this isn't that. This isn't just some misunderstanding or anything. So, then they get their mission, which is that there's a meteorite shower. And you can see that Shatner is starting to have way too much fun with these announcements. Way too much fun. It's like, yeah, it's definitely time to start panicking. So the idea is that most people are going to um, plug the holes with their fingers. And then two will create the what looked like putty to fill in the holes properly. So everybody gets to pick a hole. Of course, Paul took the highest one, and even then, he had to stand on the rover because I don't know how big the hab is, but obviously taller than 7 feet. So everybody picks a hole, and Adam and Kat are the ones who are cooking. We're making the putty, and Kat basically took over because she's like, yeah, this is like kitchen stuff, so this is like cooking. So it made sense that she would be there. And I was surprised it was Adam. I don't know why. I don't know who would have been with Kat, but so they have to do it in batches, 3 batches of 4, which I was like, wait a minute, there's 13. What about 13? And then we find out what 13 is. 13 is the head hole, so you're using a bowl for that one. So everybody is suffering. Ashley found a hole that's on the bottom so she could stick her finger in the hole and take a nap, which definitely came to bite her in the butt. So everybody was dealing with the holes, and this is how the difference between athletes and non-athletes. Ariel figured that we need to take people's minds off the pain of their arms, which you would think, would be a good thing to find ways to not think of the pain. However, athletes kind of know how to do that already because, well, they're athletes. They've dealt with pain. So they know how to push through it. So for them, at least Marshawn and Lance, Ariel's constant chattering was super, super annoying, which I can get. If you're used to being able to space out or just, black out and not concentrate on the pain, then hearing constant blabbering would probably just actually make matters worse. So I do get their annoyance. And Rhonda didn't say anything, so I don't know if it bothered her or if she just, tuned that out as well. But I get it. Maybe for none of the non-athletes said anything, but it's entirely possible that it was helpful for them. We don't know. They didn't say anything either way, whether they were happy that she was constantly chattering or whether it drove them nuts. Nobody said anything about it. So slowly they fill in the holes, and Paul is like, okay, who do I spell? Even though he was just talking about how sore his arms were from constantly plugging in that hole, he was still like, okay, who's next? Who do I need to spell? I don't believe we saw whether he actually spelled anyone, but he did look to help whoever needed help. And and Lance basically ended up, doing, Saturday Night Fever moves, trying to, because his two holes were like yay apart. That probably would have been good for Paul because, well, I think it's safe to say he's got the longest arm span. So, so everybody finishes up, they go inside, and then it's time to make the announcement of who's mission critical. And of course, Lance is like, well, I guess if I'm in the bottom three, she took it personal. And I'm just like, what is it about your history with this woman that leads you to believe that she's going to, you know, take this mission personally and wait till the bitter end? And it's like, she might scare you, but she's not going to put you in the bottom three. If for no other reason, she and Tinashe mentioned, if I put him in the bottom three, then it's going to prove them right. Because Tinashe was the one who wanted to put him in the bottom three, just to prove a point or something. And she's like, no, I can't do that. So she was in this impossible situation because unfortunately, one of the people that she did have a problem with did end up in the bottom three. So Lance and Marshawn were saved from the bottom three. And, just proving that Ariel is not a irrational bitch. But, Paul is in the bottom three. It's Paul, Ashley, and Rhonda. And Paul is like, yeah, of course I am, because, I had a problem with her and she's taking it personally. I'm sorry. She saved Marshawn and specifically Lance. This has nothing to do with her personal feelings, even though the edit made it seem like it. And Portia even said, don't let your personal feelings get in the way. And I'm like, she hasn't so far. Why are you assuming she is now? So anyway, then came time for everyone to give a reason as to why they should be there. And between the fact that Ashley was just lounging while she was plugging the hole, and her being wishy-washy, saying, well, I haven't found my niche yet, but I'm sure I will. And, I had it easy. I was lounging on the ground while, holding while plugging the hole. Did not help. I mean, it's great that she said, you know what? I'm sure I'll find my place in this group. Then it came to Rhonda, and this also killed Ashley. It's not so much that she was lazy, because she really wasn't. I mean, she was down on the ground. What is she supposed to do? Be hunched over doing this the entire time to prove that she's working? I mean, why not do what Ashley did? She still did the job, but Rhonda has a body of work. So even though Ariel and Tinashe were like, she was subpar today. She wasn't at her best. And but she had the body of work that, because her speech was not that great. It's like, I love you guys. Okay, so, and I don't want to miss Kat's dinner. But what killed Ashley was that Rhonda has that body of work. They've seen what Rhonda can do. So that worked in Rhonda's favor, because otherwise I really think that Rhonda would have gone home. So next was Paul and his speech, and he was completely honest. He was like, I did my job, and then I looked that, and I'm a team player. I did my job, and I looked to make sure that to see if there was anybody else I could spell, so they could get a break. And you can't ask for more than that. So Paul was saved. Paul was the last to be saved because I'm sure that Ariel did that on purpose. But Paul was saved, Rhonda was saved, and Ashley went home, which I feel bad because Ashley did what she was supposed to do. It's not like she struggled in her job. It's just that, she was going up against a woman who has proven that she's capable of doing these missions and helping out. Whereas Ashley just had that one time, and, she even admitted that she might have even taken a nap. So, yeah, that was a rough one for Ashley. So they're all continuing their celebrations. And then Lance decided to be an absolute child, an absolute dick, because they were talking about poker. And Ariel was talking about how, the only poker she plays that she ever learned to play was Texas Hold'em. And Lance piped up and said, yeah, she knows how to play cards. She's good at playing cards. And he goes, and that's the only nice thing I'm going to say about Ariel today. Why was that necessary? Okay, you said something nice about her. I mean, fine. You don't have to announce to everybody that, oh, I said my one nice thing about Ariel, so I'm not going to say anything else today. You don't have to announce that to everybody. It just basically screams that you're disingenuous in your praise. That, oh, I'm just saying she's good at cards just because I want to say something nice about her. How is this going to be helpful in any way? I mean, all you did was piss people off towards you even more. And, so, Andy, he, he said something which led me to believe that Lance and Ariel are going to be the ones stranded outside the hab, but I don't think that that's true. So, then we get scenes. First, we hear Adam talking to, I think it was Portia, and saying, or maybe it was Kat, I can't remember, one of the girls, that Lance is the dumbest person he's ever met. So, yeah, that was pretty dumb, Lance. I mean, you really didn't have to say that. I mean, all that does is piss people off, not just Ariel, but everyone in general, because they're going to start thinking that, oh, you only said something nice because you wanted to find something nice to say, not that you actually believed it, even though you're trying to tell people, no, that's true. Yeah, definitely dumb. So we see scenes from next week, and the AI has gotten a tech virus. And I'm sorry, but that whole ha 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 ha, can you get any cheesier? Oh my god, that was bad. I mean, I'm sure that that's the whole point of the show, is to be as cheesy as possible, but ugh. And two of the cast are stranded outside. Now, at first I thought it was going to be Lance and Ariel, because even Andy said that he would like to, put them in a situation where they have to work together. And, which is why someone suggested that Lance be her mission specialist, because that way they're working together and they can show they can work together. So that led me to believe, but the size difference, I mean, I realize Lance is not a shrimp, but maybe it's because the woman was so tiny that they make anyone look as tall as Paul Pierce. But, but maybe it was Kat and Paul. So, because you did see Kat in her suit, and someone saying, don't piss off Kat Cora. So maybe it was Kat and Paul. Maybe it was the newbies. But so yeah, that's going to be what they're dealing with next week, is a rogue AI. So it sounds like, except for having to get the hab open, so the two cast members that are currently outside would get in, I don't think there's a reason for them to actually don their space suits. So yeah, it had to have been Kat, not Ariel, out there. And like I said, they're both so tiny that anyone would look as tall as Paul next to them. I mean, Paul is so much bigger, a foot and a half, if not more, taller than Kat and Ariel. So, let me see if there's anything else that I wanted to mention. I think that is all I have for this episode. So I will see you guys next time.